Hello and welcome to Prairie Pulse. Coming up a little bit later in the show, we'll profile a story about Chief Forebears. But first, joining me now is our guest, Darlene Ellefson, author who wrote a book about step-by-step the illustrated instructions and recipes for making lefse. Darlene, thanks so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
As we get started, tell the folks a little bit about yourself and your background, where you're originally from.
I'm originally from Goodridge, Minnesota, northern Minnesota, and I started out in adulthood as a rural school teacher.
Okay, a rural. Well,
Rural.
Tell me a little bit more about that rural school teacher.
The first year I taught at Grigla, Minnesota, and I had 3 grades and 30 pupils. It was sort of a handful.
Okay, well there you go. I just wondered because okay. What got you interested in lefse?
I grew up with lefse. It was always on the table for holidays, and it just seemed to be something that we needed to have on the table.
Okay, well, with that said, I said, obviously it sounds like you've kind of fallen in love with lefse and you started making it years ago, but how did you get good at it?
By testing different recipes, and also I joined larger groups, or I should say groups that made a lot of lefse for various events, such as a smorgasbord at the church that I belonged, and also for Lefse Day that Pelican Rapids had while we lived there.
Well, and you mentioned holidays and events and things. Is lefse more of a holiday food, or is it an everyday food also, or every so often food?
Well, I make lefse around the year, pretty much. In fact, I made some on the 4th of July this past year, and I took to our church event that we had for the recognizing the 4th of July. It was a public event. So.
Okay. Well, now tell us about your books. You first wrote a lefse book about 7 years ago.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Okay, I had many people come to me previous to the book and say, gee, I wish I knew how to make lefse. And this worked on me. And I felt that I needed to reach out to these people, plus other people, realizing that the art of making lefse had drifted away from many Norwegian families. Lefse is primarily a Norwegian food. And I felt compelled then to write a book. By writing the book, I felt that I could reach out to more families and say a video or something of that sort.
Mm-hmm. And now, of course, you have another book out. So
yes.
Tell us about this one.
Okay, this is very similar. There are probably more tips in this book and also pictures. Each step in making lefse is illustrated. And there are just more pictures showing each step of the art.
Mm-hmm. And you say an art because obviously I've seen it made at the Hustfest in Minot, North Dakota there. But I understand you're a national winner of a bake-off for lefse. Tell us about that.
Okay, there were tables lined up whereby we were next to other people making lefse, and we rolled it out, and we could make, I suppose we had time for maybe 5, 6 lefse, and then we would choose the one that we felt was the most perfect and send that in to the judges. This was a public event, so people could watch us. They could stand alongside of us and ask questions as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, is lefse, is it a dying art, or is it being handed down?
Both. I felt that it was a dying art in many families, and primarily Grandma had shown her daughters and granddaughters how to make lefse, but she didn't give them the opportunity to do the actual rolling. And the rolling of the lefse is the most tricky feature in making it.
Is it? Because I noticed in there it said that you should work with a partner when making lefse.
Oh yeah, time goes by much faster when you're working with someone else. So yes,
well,
yes.
So you're rolling and frying, is that right?
Yes, okay. One person do the frying and another rolling, and then you can change over and do the opposite again.
Well, with that said, I noticed that you've brought some lefse with you.
Yes.
Tell us about this.
Okay, this lefse has actually been frozen.
Okay.
And my book contains instructions on freezing lefse, as well as packaging and so on. So I took my frozen lefse out and buttered and sugared it today, and I'd like you to try some.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. And while I try it here, I'm going to ask you a little bit about the history of lefse. Can you tell us about that? When was it first made and where?
Well, when potatoes were introduced in Norway, the people didn't have many ingredients, but they had the potatoes, and they had usually they had cream because they raised cows, and they were able to probably grind their own flour, and these are the primary ingredients in making lefse. So they had it made.
And that said, can you tell us about how Norwegian immigrants, you mentioned that, they brought it to this area, and they brought recipes with them?
Primarily in their heads. And that's probably another reason why the daughters and granddaughters did not learn to make lefse, because Grandma had that also in her head, and she knew by putting a pinch of this or a dab of that into her batches, she was able to make it.
Well, and you say that, and I would hope that anybody out there that has a grandmother who has her recipes in her head, that they would try to get them on paper, because it is one of those things. Grandmothers are always better.
That's true.
Because they have that dash of something.
That's true, yes.
So, and the crew's hoping that I don't keep eating, because I know.
Okay, well, you're welcome.
Because it was great. So you talked about the ingredients, but let's do it again. Let's talk about the key ingredients to making lefse, and talk about the 3 basic recipes that you have.
Okay, the primary ingredient in lefse is potato, and 2 of the recipes calls for potatoes. The other one is potato flakes, and I always state that they should use a good brand of potato flakes in using that recipe.
Okay. And so the 3 basic recipes, then how do you put it together? How do you mix it? And what do you do?
You will boil the potatoes, of course, then rice them, and cool this batter after you have put most of the ingredients in. After it's cooled and you're ready to fry, you will put it on you'll add flour. Do not add the flour until this area of making the lefse. Then roll it into balls, and then roll it out on a rolling board covered with a cloth with a cross-cut rolling pin. The cross-cut allows you to disperse the flour more evenly throughout the dough. And then you will add it to transfer it over to the 500-degree griddle.
Okay, 500-degree griddle. And I noticed that there's a special tool to use when frying the.
Oh yes, you need to use a lefse stick, and this should be a long stick with a flat end and tapered at the end, and it also should have some flex to it when picking up the lefse. This is advantageous.
I noticed there is some art to flipping lefse. Or I saw, you said, or at least I saw it. You talk about making lefse can be tricky too. What's the tricky part? What do you mean by that?
The tricky part is rolling it out, and many feel that they should roll it thinly, and this isn't necessary for a beginner. I always say that it tastes about the same whether it's a little thicker or just rolled up thin.
Okay, so it tastes about the same. Can you talk about you enjoying making lefse with your grandchildren? I mentioned that, and how your family looks forward to eating it. You mentioned holidays and things.
Oh yes, my grandchildren, they are, if they aren't interested in making lefse, I interest them. And I like to have days where we can just make lefse together. And one of my memories is my 7.5-year-old great-granddaughter anxious to roll out the lefse, and I said, wait a minute now, I have to show you just how to do this. And so I demonstrated to her, and she took over the rolling pin, and she did an awesome job. Well, her name is Riley.
Well, Riley, I hope that's a special memory for you and for her.
Yes.
Because as you said, advancing that or leaving that down for generations is great.
It will
I understand you also do some of your, retail some of your own cooking supplies. Tell us about that.
Yes, I retail the sticks that I just mentioned. I also retail the rolling pins, which is made in northern Minnesota by a third-generation family. I make my own rolling boards. They are larger than those that are on the market, and they are heavier so that they do not move around when rolling. I also have invented my own steamer, because after the lefse comes off of the griddle, steaming is a necessary step in keeping them nice and moist. And by putting them in my steamer, it just does that. Kitchen towels can also be used, and they were used before we had the steamers. So
I understand, and I noticed there are pictures in here, and it looks like with your grandchildren and
yes,
and some of the instruments used.
I want lefse to be a family affair, and also a family tradition, because I think traditions in a family is very important.
Well, and with that said, you also written other books about family genealogy.
Yes, I have.
And I assume your family, obviously. So tell us how you got involved. Obviously, you're saying you think it's important, I believe.
Yes, I started in early, about 2002, and I went to the library in Moorhead and I got the microfilm from Walcott, North Dakota, and I was interested in Walcott because my great-grandmother came from there. And I recorded a lot of the events that went on, and I made a 482-page from these facts that I had found. And in reading it, it's like reading a novel. I also did one on this great-grandmother because she was a very affluent person during her time. Unlike other women, she was out there as a businesswoman and as a farmer and a trader, and she was also called the doctor woman. She had taken a test in Dakota by Dakota Territory, whereby she was allowed to practice medicine. So.
Well, yeah, for a woman back in that time.
And back in that time,
yeah, it was. Well, talk about the various places that you go out and do demonstrations and show how to make lefse. We'll go back to lefse now.
Okay, all right. I have done it in schools. I've demonstrated at Sons of Norway, at Stevnies, and these are Norwegian groups from various parts of Norway. Also in churches. And
well, now when you do these demonstrations, I mean, do you pretty much do it start to finish, or?
I usually have the dough prepared because it's important to have that dough cooled, and that gives me opportunity then to have it ready to do the real.
Now, and of course, when you say that process and have the dough cooled, how long does it take for it to cool down?
Oh, overnight is usually good.
Oh, really?
Yes, Okay. Yeah, sometimes I wait just a few hours if I know the grandchildren are coming and we want to make lefse.
Yeah, but you're saying you would normally do it overnight. So there's a lot of tricks to this.
Read the book and you'll...
But it sounds like you're in demand to do these cooking demonstrations. People are looking for you and asking you to come do them for them.
Yes. I'm sort of limited in driving. I'm not a great driver, so I stay within the Fargo-Moorhead area in northern Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, what has been the reaction to the books that you've written so far?
When my first book came out, I brought it to a bookstore, and her response was, the manager's response was, "Oh, this is just what we need." And they have done a very good business for me. I have marketed the books myself, and with the first edition, I marketed over 4,000 books on my own.
Okay. What's the real difference between the first book 7 years ago and this book again?
The illustrations and more tips.
Okay, more tips.
More tips.
Okay. Well, so what kind of reaction do you get when you're out there demonstrating and cooking, and do you find out that there's a lot of people that do it and they just like hearing it, or are there a lot of people that really don't understand lefse and they're learning or is it a mixture?
It's a mixture. There are both people. Some people have tried making lefse and they feel that they need more expertise, and there are those that make it and see if there's something else that they can learn by all the tips that I have in the book.
When you say recipes for lefse, I mean, of course you see it's spread out usually just in a big round, I don't know what you call that once it's spread out.
I call it a round, lefse round.
Around. And then of course here you've rolled it up and made, I think you called them fingers before we started.
Then that's fine, yes.
Sticky fingers maybe?
It was my sticky fingers, yes.
But so what do you do with lefse once you've got a round? I mean, can you make different things with it, or is it just sort of sugar and butter and eat it?
Well, people have gone to all sorts of things, using sausage in it and potatoes, meat and potatoes. They roll up in their lefse, and you could even use lutefisk.
I did tell you I've tried lutefisk, but I do that only about once a year.
Well, good for you.
What do you think your next project is involving lefse? Can we expect another book, or what will you be doing?
Oh, I think that this book now it covers everything that I want to cover in a book, and I believe I will just be marketing this one.
Okay. With that said, though, what do you hope that when people get this book and read it, and what do you hope they really take away from all of this?
The confidence in making lefse themselves. They can go page by page or illustration by illustration and learn how to make this lefse, and I think that they would gain a confidence in doing so.
A confidence, yeah, because I don't think I'd have much confidence. I've watched people use this stick to flip it, but does that just take practice?
The flipping really doesn't.
Okay.
Except I have to guard the men that are making lefse, because they want, if there are any bubbles that form, they want to crack them. And that will show just a line in your finished lefse product. So I discourage that.
Okay, because yes, I'm sitting here, of course. So really, when you're making the dough, because I noticed that, do you mix it yourself, or because I notice here you're using a?
I make large batches, so I use an electric grinder. But you can use a ricer that does the same thing.
Okay.
Yes, for smaller batches.
So obviously, yeah, there are different ways then to use
and
the
I show both.
Because that's what it is. I flipped through this earlier and read.
Sure.
So anyway, it's just so interesting, and because lefse has a lot of history in this region, and I think it's very important to the history and the culture of the Norwegian.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, and like I say, family tradition is.
Okay. Well, Darlene, finally, I guess if people want more information, would like to get your book, where can they go? Who can they contact?
Well, they can contact me at my telephone number, and I have many people stop at my house and pick up books, or my email. Has the word lefse in it, so.
Okay. Well, we wish you the best, and I look forward to seeing you somewhere down the road demonstrating and making lefse for us.
Well, I'll be pleased to do so.
And we thank you so much for bringing this. Maybe I'll let the crew taste a little of it.
Oh,
before
okay,
I'm done
all
with
right,
it.
okay. Even my grandson, he was given one little portion, and he kept begging and begging for more, so.
Darlene, thanks so much for joining us today, and best of luck.
Thank
to
you, my pleasure.
All right. Stay tuned for more. The Mandan chief, Four Bears, was given his name after the battle in which he charged the enemy with the strength of 4 bears. He was a brave and courageous man and a distinguished war leader. His generosity and fearlessness in battle gained him the respect of the Mandan people, who honor his memory to this day. He was immortalized by artists to live on forever as a great part of North Dakota history.
It is one of the primary questions we get here at the museum. Why is everything around here called Four Bears? What was Four Bears? Who was Four Bears? We have the Four Bears Bridge, we have the Four Bears Casino, we have Four Bears Village, and sometimes they even call us the Four Bears Museum. People are sometimes a little bit surprised to learn that there were 2 chief Four Bears, or 2 warriors Four Bears. The Mandan Four Bears and then the Hidatsa Four Bears. They lived at different times in the history of our tribe, the Mandan Four Bears being the earlier of the 2. The reason that the Mandan Four Bears is so revered is because of his reputation as being a great warrior and defending the rest of the tribe from enemies and people that would be seeking to harm them. The Hidatsa Four Bears is known for being a great leader and a negotiator at the Fort Laramie meeting in 1851. The life of the Mandan forebears began probably about 1800. At the time he was born, there was already a tremendous change in the society of the Mandan people. Prior to that time, they probably lived a fairly peaceful life along the Missouri River. They were planters, farmers, planted huge crops, lived permanently in Earth Lodge villages, and had a highly developed social structure. About that time, the influx of the Europeans began to impact on forebears and its people. He probably saw a lot of change. He saw the coming of the white man. He saw the harassment of the Sioux. That's when the warfare between the tribes on the Great Plains began. Everybody had allies and enemies. So Forebears was born into that as a young man and distinguished himself then as a warrior. The warrior status was very highly thought of. That's probably his legacy now as a very distinguished warrior and a protector of the people and the village where he lived. The most interesting thing about Forebears is how did he get that name? With Indian people, a person could have several names. They could have a name at birth, they could have a name when they became a young person, they could distinguish themselves in some manner and get another name. Forebears acquired his name from the fact that he was a great warrior. In a battle he had with one of the enemy tribes, they were amazed at how he could fight, and they called him that he fights almost like four bears together. That would be quite a strong fighter, I would say. He was also noted as being very congenial. When the white man first arrived, he was very hospitable and very welcoming. In June of 1837, then a boat came up the river, and they had a sick man on board, and he was left at the Mandan village, and they said, we'll pick him up on our way back down. Well, he had smallpox. The Mandan people were told, leave your villages, outrun this epidemic, outrun this germ. They couldn't because they had permanent villages, they had gardens, they had fields, so they stayed, which was probably the worst thing they could do because the Earth Lodges were not conducive to getting rid of the smallpox germ. So as a result, almost the entire population of the Mandan people, and Forebears being one of them, that perished in the epidemic. There's a speech, sort of a farewell speech, where he talks about, I've always been a friend to the white man, we've welcomed him, we've given him food, we've given him lodging, and look what he's done to us. In 1832, there were two very prominent artists, George Catlin and Carl Bodmer. Now, Carl Bodmer accompanied Prince Maximilian. He's an explorer. Carl Bodmer did a lot of sketching and painting while he was on this journey. George Catlin came from back east. He was also interested in making sketches of Indian people before they disappeared. Both Catlin and Bodmer did artist sketches and portraits of forebears. So we have those. We know they're very well done. Catlin and Bodmer did only the Mandan forebears. The Hidatsa forebears would have been perhaps too young or still a child. So we don't have any images of the Hidatsa forebears like we do of the Mandan forebears. Forebears to me signifies a time when the Mandan people were probably at the pinnacle. Ideally, he represents that kind of lost society that everybody's trying to acquire. The reason it's important to remember forebears is for any historical reason that we remember Thomas Jefferson or we remember George Washington, to really have a full understanding of why we're here and how we're here. We got to look back and see the path, the journey. The Indian history is a big part of it.
Well, that's all we have on Prairie Pulse for this week. And as always, thanks for watching.
Funded in part by the North Dakota Humanities Council and by the members of Prairie Public.